Welcome to the EitherOr podcast, where we either discuss something casual, something fun, or something funny, or we discuss something more serious, more world issue involved, more political and stuff like that. I'm Phil,
I'm Paul.
I'm Daryl.
and today, guess we're talking about cancel culture.
Woo, yes.
Mm,
It's a very, I guess, hot topic nowadays. People, I guess, I don't want to say getting canceled left and right, but I feel like it's definitely it occurs a lot more now. I feel like
yeah.
because at least the way I've seen things, we reached a point in our society where we want to hold people more accountable, like especially if they are in like a like a position of power or just like any sort of higher up, well-known position. Uh, Basically, society just does not want to let things slide anymore. So we got to hold people accountable.
Yeah, at the same time, it's also gotten to a point where it's gotten too out of hand.
Oh
People
yeah,
get for the smallest
Yeah,
shit
definitely.
that they did like 10 plus years ago. People can change in that amount of time.
yeah. I feel like it definitely can be very nitpicky from time to time. Again, like as you're bringing up, like someone could just if you're younger, you post some dumb shit on the internet and someone just goes back in time and looks that shit up and you didn't delete it. And even if you did delete it, someone probably screenshotted it or screen recorded it either way. Either way, someone could still bring it up, be like, hey, this person said or did some shitty thing way back when.
Hmm.
But
And like a band, like they're playing. Like I personally think cancel culture's ass. There's like no growth, but people have different opinions on that. But I definitely like. There's definitely one situation, like the whole Billie Eilish situation with her boyfriend and her. Like I don't know the whole thing. They might not even be dating. I don't know.
mm,
But especially with her, like she said, like a racial Asian slur when she was a kid.
mm,
Yeah,
But
yeah.
and people tried to cancel her for that. But the thing is, people obviously didn't watch the whole video because you can even see that her brother corrected her and told her like you can't say that.
mm,
Quite a few years younger than she is now.
mm.
So it's just weird. It's just weird the lack of like research people are willing to do nowadays into stuff like that. So it's just like a really bad. It's just one of those cases. Or we could and have it's we could even go with the baby situation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
People can't like that whole situation is stupid, right? And here's my thing. Do I think what he did was right? No. I thought it was fucking stupid. I thought he didn't think it through. But do I think he needs to be canceled for it? No. I do like I said, I do think he needs to be called out for it. Because yeah, he did was fucking stupid. But because like who fucking goes on stage and decides, yeah, I'm gonna just say some shit about gay people and STDs. Just to hype the people up. It's
yeah,
stupid. But like I said, you can see that he probably didn't have any sort of ill intent behind it and that he was just trying to hype the people up. That's what people do at concerts.
yeah,
I've never seen any prior instances of him beating up or verbally assaulting homosexual people or people with sexually transmitted diseases. Now, could he have? It's possible, but I haven't seen any instance of that.
mhm,
But like, but they'll cancel him for that, but they won't cancel him for hitting a woman in the past and I think killing somebody in the past.
mm,
They cancel him for that. People like to pick and choose the shit they cancel, right? Or like
yeah,
the people that haven't
Yeah.
canceled I mean, they haven't canceled 6ix9ine yet. He had sex with a 13-year-old girl as an adult.
mm,
This is what I mean by people like to pick and choose the shit that they actually cancel because it fits them. It fits whatever agenda they have in their mind, or they just They're just uppity ass people.
Yeah.
For real.
Feeling like getting on someone's shit for nothing, or or for something valid, but for something that didn't need to be canceled, but rather needed to be called out. Like, I don't think people really think about what people people nowadays think a lot more on emotion rather than just sitting back, taking a breath, taking a break, and then acting. People are a lot more reactive now instead of active,
Yeah.
and it's getting bad, especially in that realm. So I
Yeah.
mean,
And like, I feel like I don't. It's also weird when it comes to like even just like certain artists or certain performers when they get, I guess, canceled or called out for something. You know, I feel it puts someone in like who's like a fan of that person like a I don't know how to describe. I guess sticky situation for lack of better terms is because like do I still support them or what, or do I just completely just like phase them out and act like I was never a fan of them this entire time? And I'm just like, I don't know. Like again, like it goes back to what you're saying. People are nitpicky when it comes to it. They like to pick and choose what to cancel because you'd be like, oh, this person's my favorite artist or favorite performer, um, and I really like them, so I'm just gonna keep supporting them even though they screwed up or whatnot.
it's like going along the lines of that, right? I lost my train of thought. Hold on. I hate when this happens. Oh, okay. So like when you said like people like when people think like should I support this person? No one said you had to keep supporting them after that. Like you don't personally have to. But it's when you try to keep spreading that towards everyone else who probably don't know the entire situation, right?
Mm,
It's like how let's be honest, the majority of Americans vote for somebody and don't actually research who the fuck they're voting for
yeah,
because someone else told them that. So they're going more on hearsay rather than their own personal mind, their own personal like feelings, and then actual fucking evidence and actually going out to see what the fuck actually happened, right?
yeah. And it's like even getting into like a little like not like getting into, but like even like getting into a little bit like of American politics. I feel like a lot of people they just excuse me, they tend to just form their own opinions based off of whatever their parents believe in or just whoever's around them, whatever they believe. It's like, okay, I believe it too. And it's like I don't want to necessarily say that there's like anything wrong with that per se, but I want to say that like you're better off going out and forming your own opinions on on something like that versus just like piggybacking off of someone else's beliefs and what they say, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it basically comes down to like personal biases, right? I don't
Yeah.
know that shit, fuck it, whatever. But it all comes down to that, right? Because everyone has a bias towards like their parents, their friends. So of course, when someone tells them something, they're going to 100%, or at least fucking 90, 80 to 100% of the time, follow exactly what that person said.
Mm,
If I said that, I don't know, we'll just say a random cousin of mine. If I said a cousin of mine said something transphobic, 9 times out of 10, or 8 times out of 10, you might actually believe me if I say that. Do you have any prior evidence? No, you don't. You don't actually know what happened. And what I perceive as transphobic, you might not perceive it to be that way. They could have said something like, I don't know, like a transgender woman sexually isn't a woman, right?
mm,
Which is biologically correct. Sex is male and female. So, but that's not necessarily transphobic. But
yeah.
because they said that and I took it that way, I tell that to you, then you take it that way, and then you tell that to Daryl, and then he takes it that way, and then he'll tell whoever's next, and then they'll tell, and then it spreads.
Mm,
And then you'll get that one person that's like, okay, what really happened? That actually goes to discover what happened and then brings it up. But because you're one against so many, then they're gonna think maybe you're transphobic too, or you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So it's bad because people have this inherent bias
Mhm.
towards people and still don't even think, let me go figure something out myself, you know?
Um, yeah, I don't know. It's just cancel culture is very weird. Like, I don't know, because I feel like I guess as time goes on, almost like not necessarily like I don't want to say like certain actions don't have as much impact. Like I don't know, it's weird because what was that? I'm thinking back to like one of my classes where like one of my teachers like talking about cancel culture and like he basically was like yeah kind of like the older something is the less it kind of matters almost because say like something happened or fuck where am I going with this let's say like we look back on like I'm trying to think of an example uh let's say someone is getting canceled for something and, time goes on 100 years from now that person's already dead and like that person like say it was like an artist or something blah 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 it's like I guess years from now people can I guess still technically enjoy their stuff and not necessarily feel as bad. I'm trying to remember what like the point like my teacher was making, but like essentially it's like, as time goes on, like
Kind
stuff
of
like
just
that, it's just like it doesn't really matter as much almost. Not necessarily. I don't know. Cause like I don't know, because I feel like I don't know, I'm trying not to be too repetitive and be like, oh, cancel culture is nitpicky and all that. But just like but that's what a lot of it does come down to, is it being nitpicky? Because, people pick and choose what they want to cancel. Um, because it's easy to be like, oh yeah, that person's clearly a piece of shit. They definitely deserve it. Then it's like, oh, I really like this person. I don't necessarily want to cancel them because I've supported them all these years. It's hard for them to see them in like a different way. And like, I guess to bring up another example, granted, I'm diving into wrestling because that's just what I know. But basically, again, at the start of the pandemic, uh, a lot of wrestlers were being called out in what was called the speaking out movement, where basically it was just a lot of just like backstage stuff coming out about certain wrestlers and like just
Oh yeah.
like sexual assault and all that. It was just crazy. Just a lot of it was a lot of it on the independents, a few in WWE, and it was just like all over the place, like names you wouldn't expect. Like I know one of the big names that comes to mind is Matt Riddle. He was accused of sexual assault, and he's still getting like TV time and all that. And like I don't want to say people have kind of forgotten about that whole thing, but it's definitely almost been thrown under the rug almost, just
yeah.
because, and
Yeah,
especially
pretty
now
much.
since he is getting a bigger push now for the most part because he is working with some of like the bigger stars like Randy Orton and like a little bit even with John Cena too. They had like a little segment on Raw like not
Yeah.
too long ago. Um, but I don't know because and I know too the person uh who was like uh who was taking him to court for sexual assault recently dropped the case against him, but I think it was more due to like monetary reasons rather than not being able to like keep the case going forward, which is another thing too, because like you know when it comes to like things like sexual assault, like those cases are very very hard to prove or disprove because the way our justice system is set up, like you need to have evidence and granted, we do live in a world where we're damn near constantly recording, but that doesn't mean we are recording all the time, you know. And
True.
And even so, again, going back to with the technology we have, you know, deep fakes are very possible. Granted, it's not like everyone knows how to create a deep fake, you know, so it's not like that technology is perfectly accessible to everyone. But I don't know, it's things like that are almost like a weird gray area for a lack of better terms. Because I mean, I don't know, because some people are like, oh, this person's lying, they should go to jail for lying because they falsely accused someone of sexual assault. But on the other hand, it's also like, why would they go out of their way to accuse someone if something like of something that serious, if like, you know, something like that didn't happen, you know? And I mean, obviously there have been cases where things like that have been proven or disproven, but you know, it's again very, very hard to do so, which kind of leads to, it's like one of the main reasons why a lot of people don't come forward with those cases, because the majority of the time it's not really going to get them anywhere, and they're just wasting money on lawyers and shit, and it's overall just a pain in the ass. I don't know, it's an unfortunate situation. uh,
Dale, you sound like you had some stuff you wanted to say. You sound like you had some stuff you wanted to say about the whole wrestling shit too.
Oh yeah, like basically about like what Matt Riddle and his the incident about what happened. Like he said like they uh like it's been yeah, it was pretty much swept under the rug pretty
mhm.
much for the most part. And it doesn't have to, well, this one that, well, the topic I'm about to bring up doesn't have to really deal with assault. It would have to do with like uh something else, because one of the there's a one of the there's a tag team called the Usos. One of the Usos, I think it was Jimmy, or was it Jay?
Yeah,
I forgot.
I think it was Jimmy, I want to say.
Jimmy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he recently got arrested again for DUI, driving under
uh,
the influence,
yeah.
and it's been pretty much like
Ye-
swept under the rug also as well.
yeah, that was a really big one too, especially since he's in like the main event scene with like Roman and them. And like, and he, this, it's not like this was just like a one-time thing. Like Jimmy has like gotten multiple DUIs on multiple occasions. I mean, he's gotten punished for those previous ones, I believe. But I know with this most recent one, they were just kind of like, you know, we're just gonna let that slide just because he's in the main event scene. And like, I don't know,
Yeah,
it's
I'm like, that's something I thought I wanted to bring up because
it's definitely like a serious situation, like especially with like when it comes to like alcohol and stuff and driving under the influence. I mean, I don't know. I really hope Jimmy does get the help that he needs for that, because I don't know. It's just happened time and time again with him, and it's unfortunate because he's a really talented person. And I don't know. I just hope he's able to get the help he needs. Um,
I think when you mentioned earlier about cancel culture, what your teacher said about how over time it doesn't matter. I can probably contest that because yeah, 100 years from now, drastic, but you could technically say people canceled Hitler and people like that.
mm,
I'm not getting into that shit, but yeah, I think it also depends on the severity too, right? Because
yeah,
well, it's the Jimmy Fallon sketch. Y'all heard about that, where he was impersonating a black baseball or basketball player. That shit happened 20-ish years ago. I'm pretty sure it was about 20 years ago, where he was doing a sketch on a black baseball player, and he was he was in he had darker skin, he had curly hair and all that. Um, and I don't exactly remember what the sketch was,
mm,
but yeah, it was it was in 2000. Okay, it was in 2000. That was 20 years ago, and people called it blackface, which It wasn't blackface. Blackface is blatant. You know when blackface is blackface, right?
Yeah.
But that shit happened 20 years ago, right?
Mhm.
Tropic Thunder, I don't know when that happened. But this gets back into the pick and choosing shit. People canceled Jimmy Fallon for that, but didn't cancel Robert Downey Jr. for Tropic Thunder.
Mhm.
When
Oh yeah.
he spent that whole fucking movie as a stereotypical black person. He wasn't in blackface, but he was a stereotypical black person. And yeah, the movie was parodying shit like that, but the shit still stands. So this is, like I said, it gets back into the whole topic of picking and choosing
Mhm.
what and who to cancel. They did that probably because they just didn't fucking like Jimmy Fallon. They didn't do that shit to Robert Downey Jr. I don't know how long ago Tropic Thunder was. I'm thinking probably was maybe in the 90s or some shit. I don't actually know.
Probably
Tropic
around
Thunder.
that.
Nah, it was. I think it was probably like '08 or something. Yeah, it
No,
was '08.
Oh.
Tropic Thunder was in 2008.
Yeah.
Hold the hell on. I'm sorry. Brief intermission. I have to check this out.
Yeah. Yeah, it was '08.
What the fuck? Okay, so then no one needed. Then this also goes. That also goes with the fucking time and severity shit then too, because that was 13 years ago with a different
But
actor, with a different individual, but they didn't cancel him. But they canceled Jimmy Fallon when even the black-based basketball player said he enjoyed the skit. There were
mhm.
like a lot of black people that thought the shit was funny.
Mhm. And it's like, but like I think what the point my teacher was trying to make is not necessarily like it won't have an impact like canceling people or it doesn't really matter. I think it was just more of like over time, like the longer something goes by, like it's I guess somewhat less frowned upon to like I guess be interested or enjoy something that was or is canceled. I don't know.
Like I said,
It,
it's still like I said. I'm sorry, but I still contest it. Just because
mm,
Tropic Thunder was in 2008 and that sketch was in 2000. That
mm,
was 21 years ago. Tropic Thunder was 13, 12, 13.
mm,
So there's still a slight disconnect because it's basically the same thing. It's basically the same thing that was done just by two different people. And like, yeah, you could say time, but then why hasn't RDJ been canceled for that? And Tropic Thunder was like a little over 10 years ago. Jimmy Fallon got canceled for that, and that was 21 years ago. You know?
yeah, yeah, I get what you're saying.
I understand where he comes from, but it
Mm,
still also depends on the severity, and it also just depends on who the fuck someone wants to cancel at a time.
yeah,
Because people just like to hate on people for no reason. It's like those bitch ass YouTube commenters that go on a page, don't even watch the video, comment some rude ass shit, and then leave. If you don't want to watch it, if you don't support them, then fucking not. You don't have
it's
to.
it's like granted I think these are bots, but I'm sure like you've probably seen on Twitter like under like certain like artists like comment section they'll be like make better music or like I stopped listening to you because your music sucks or that bullshit. Like I'm pretty sure those are fucking bot comments, but it's like what the fuck? What is the point?
And they're not like genuine criticisms either.
Yeah.
Like it'd be different if it was genuine criticism, and then
Mm,
even that shit for some reason gets canceled. But like
yeah.
if it was genuine criticism, fine. But
Mm,
if it's not, shut the fuck up and stop listening to them. You don't have
yeah.
to associate with them anymore.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
that'd be like if I was a friend with a white guy that said the N word and didn't like him, but for some bitch ass reason I still associated with him. What the fuck? Who's the dumbass in that situation? Him for saying it or for me for staying? Like
Uh,
it doesn't make sense.
um. Yeah. uh. Shoot, I forgot what I was gonna say. I don't know. It's weird. I mean, at the end of the day, people are just gonna do what they want. We see it. We see it time and time again. It's just like people are gonna do what they want. You know, whether it's on a large like corporate scale or on an individual scale. Like, people just don't give a fuck. It's as simple as that. They are going to do and say what they want, support what they want. I mean, sure, they'll probably take some sort of input from like the things they're biased towards, whether it's certain artists, certain YouTubers, or internet personalities, or even news sources, for God's sakes. But they are going to lean more towards in what they support, rather than even hearing out like another person's perspective. You know, which
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. At the end of the day, I don't think it's necessarily wrong to hold someone accountable, but if it's over some petty shit, like again, like if it happened like a long ass time ago and like they've obviously changed from it, like there's no point in bringing up old shit. Like, come
Mm-hmm.
on. It's like,
And
I don't know.
especially don't bring it up if someone else did it and you don't get on their heads about it.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, I don't know. It's like if I'm losing my words here. Words are
Mhm.
hard, and I'm supposed to be a writer, but um, I don't know. 'Cause, I mean, I think people just need to learn to understand that people change with time. You know, it's like, I mean, some people do, some people don't, but you you should be able to see that through their actions and through their words, whether or not they've genuinely changed. And I mean, sure, if it's someone on like a higher level of popularity, for lack of better terms, they may be doing that just to stay face or whatever, and just keep those terrible beliefs to themselves or in private. But I don't know. It's I'm losing words again.
Mm,
But I don't know. It,
yeah,
people at the end of the day just need to do better.
like at the end of the day, like it really doesn't. At this current point in time, it doesn't really matter what you do. You could maybe you had to pee, you could have pissed on like in the woods somewhere. Like you were driving, you stop, you pissed in the woods. Someone takes a picture of it, boom, cancel because you're pissing on nature. It doesn't. At this point, people just kind of just don't really give a shit anymore.
Yeah.
I feel.
And it's like, and not to dig deep into American politics because we all know about all that, but it's like we see that shit in American politics a lot. It's like pe- people say or do some shit out of pocket, and people are just like, yeah, I fucking support that, especially with our former president. But it's like all that shit's there, and you still gonna support this dude? Like, I'm not gonna get into all that, but I just want to say we see that shit a lot, and even a little bit with our current president too, just a little bit, like not as much, but even a little bit with him. I don't know. When it comes to politicians and me, I feel like they're all shit, and that is just my take on politicians.
Well, at this point, we're gonna switch from cancel cultures to people just not fucking researching shit because
Like,
that's what
I,
it all
I,
down.
I was gonna say, let's just make this episode fucking cancel culture and doing research, just so we can have more things to talk about. Because I'm losing my words.
The fucking episode could be like cancel culture and it like issues with diversity or some shit. I don't know, something like that. 'Cause
Yeah.
there's so many ways you can go through this.
Yeah, it's like, because I don't know, a lot of this I feel like really comes down to education and learning and the way people are raised. Because I've probably brought this up before at some point, like either off the air or on the air, but like the way people are raised and the way they learn, they it it, it forms the way they think and how they do things. And like uh the longer they maintain those thoughts and habits, the harder it is going to be for them to break that along the way. Because a lot of the times, at the end of the way they were raised, that's the way they think is right, and that's their whole mindset. and it's hard for them to break away from that mindset. Like you can show them as much evidence as humanly possible, and again, especially now, even with the fake news bullshit, people are calling shit fake news. Just like,
That's like an actual term now, too.
yes, it
That's
is.
a term. That's never been a term before. That used to be an excuse for someone to say, yeah, fuck your facts. They ain't real.
Yeah, and it's, I don't know. I mean, obviously, we've reached a point where we've seen biases within our own media too. Like, I mean, it's bound to happen. Bias is going to be anywhere, and I'm sure some news outlets are genuinely trying to do or say the right things, but I don't know. Like, you you can't necessarily just delete bias. Like, it's not going to happen really. It's like there's still going to be a little bit there, no matter how much you say you try to make an unbiased statement. It's very hard to get rid of that, because again, depending on what you've learned, how you were raised, it's going to form the way you think about life and how you think about society.
I think it also, like, with the research thing, it also comes down to people's personal feelings too. Like, I could look up at the sky. It looks light blue, sky blue, right? Someone could look at that shit and be like, "What are you talking about? That shit is green." Even facts are opinions to certain people. At the end of the day, every person's thought is an opinion, even if it's a fact. Even if you know gravity is real, someone else might be like, "What the fuck is gravity?" And that's their opinion, even if it's an opinion.
I was gonna say, and that's why flat earthers still exist.
Bruh.
God, I don't want to.
You would think we've gotten a lot farther past that, but we still gotta prove to them that the Earth isn't flat.
Shout out Kyrie.
Kyrie, Kyrie, the Earth isn't flat, Kyrie.
Logan Paul believes that shit.
Hold on.
Bro, it's
Hold on.
like I said, at this point, like I said, even the facts at this point are just people's opinions of the truth. Like, the truth could be inherent, and someone will have a belief that severely contradicts that shit.
It's like, Kyrie Irving, you're 29 and you still think the Earth is flat. You're 29. You've been on this Earth for 29 years. Oh.
It's wild the amount of shit that people just believe without any prior research or just due to their personal feelings. And it's rough because, like, even trying to be as objective as possible with it, it's still, you can still definitely tell there's just, that's just how it is. Everyone has a bias with things. Like I said, even with stuff that should be factual, there's still an inherent bias to it.
It's society as a whole is definitely in a tough pickle. I mean, I guess more so in terms of like American society, because that's, at least that's the society I have the best perspective of. Because I mean, I'm sure even in other countries they have their own shit going on, their own internal problems that we as Americans don't necessarily pay attention to, because we're the best country in the world, apparently. I'll throw in the intro to the newsroom right now if you've ever seen that show.
Can you say why America is the greatest country in the world?
Diversity and opportunity.
Lewis?
Freedom and freedom. So let's keep it that way.
Will?
The New York Jets.
No, I'm going to hold you to an answer on that. What makes America the greatest country in the world?
Well, Lewis and Sharon said it. Diversity and opportunity and freedom and freedom. You don't look satisfied.
I want a human moment from you. What about the people? Why is America
Not the greatest country in the world, Professor. That's my answer.
You're saying...
Yes.
Let's talk about...
Fine. Sharon, the NEA is a loser. Yeah, it accounts for a penny out of her paycheck, but he gets to hit you with it anytime he wants. It doesn't cost money. It costs votes. It costs airtime and column inches. You know why people don't like liberals? Because they lose. If liberals are so fucking smart, how come they lose so goddamn always?
Hey.
And with a straight face, you're going to tell students that America is so star-spangled awesome that we're the only ones in the world who have freedom? Canada has freedom. Japan has freedom. The UK, France, Italy, Germany, Spain, Australia, Belgium has freedom. So 207 sovereign states in the world, like 180 of them have freedom.
All right.
And yeah, you, sorority girl, just in case you accidentally wander into a voting booth one day, there's some things you should know. And one of them is, there is absolutely no evidence to support the statement that we're the greatest country in the world. We're 7th in literacy, 27th in math, 22nd in science, 49th in life expectancy, 178th in infant mortality, 3rd in median household income, number 4 in labor force, and number 4 in exports. We lead the world in only 3 categories: number of incarcerated citizens per capita, number of adults who believe angels are real, and defense spending, where we spend more than the next 26 countries combined, 25 of whom are allies. Now, none of this is the fault of a 20-year-old college student, but you nonetheless are, without a doubt, a member of the worst generation ever. So when you ask what makes us the greatest country in the world, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Yosemite? Sure used to be. We stood up for what was right. We fought for moral reasons. We passed laws, struck down laws for moral reasons. We waged wars on poverty, not poor people. We sacrificed. We cared about our neighbors. We put our money where our mouths were, and we never beat our chest. We built great big things, made ungodly technological advances, explored the universe, cured diseases, and we cultivated the world's greatest artists and the world's greatest economy. We reached for the stars, acted like men. We aspired to intelligence. We didn't belittle it. It didn't make us feel inferior. We didn't identify ourselves by who we voted for in the last election, and we didn't scare so easy. We were able to be all these things and do all these things because we were informed by great men who were revered. First step in solving any problem is recognizing there is one. America is not the greatest country in the world anymore.
If you haven't, it's a really good show.
I could say something cancelable right now. And if there ever comes a day where I'm famous, someone will find this video, look back at it, and what I say, that, let's be honest, I don't think it should be cancelable at all. But what I think they'll take as, yes, we need to cancel him. Will things be different 10 years from now? I don't know. I'd like to think people would be a little bit smarter about things, but, you know.
It's recording back up. Alrighty, we are back. Zoom, make your service free, or hell, even Mark Zuckerberg, let us record in Facebook Messenger. Just let us do it. Like, it was perfect. You will literally snap Zoom out of existence through that. You want to become Thanos, Mark? That's how you become Thanos. You add a recording feature to fucking Facebook Messenger video.
Oh, he probably would be more akin to Thanos in that case.
Oh my god. Yeah. So we're obviously still talking about. Well, I guess we're talking about a whole lots of different things, but it's all getting kind of lumped into under the theme of just cancel culture and doing your research and just, I don't know. We got a whole lot going on this episode.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. It's,
Yep.
oh God, it's the whole research side of it. It's the research side of it that's like out of control because there's so many instances of people just not doing enough research before they make a judgment on anything.
Yeah. And
And
it's
like I
like,
get it, sometimes you gotta go on gut. Damn.
yeah, and I feel like a lot of it, like some of this does come down to a little bit of laziness too, just because again, we've reached the point in society where we literally have like an entire encyclopedia in our fucking pockets, and there's so much out there. I mean, obviously, not everything on the internet is true, so that's another thing to keep in mind, people. Not everything on the shit's true, um, but I mean, still, at the end of the day, you're doing research. It's. I mean, I think they even teach us shit. I mean, at some high school, I don't know. The American education system does need a little work, so I don't know. Because I don't know. I feel like one thing I have, like, I tend to give people the benefit of the doubt the majority of the time, even though a lot of the time people are dumb, people are stupid, they don't know what the fuck they're doing or what the fuck they talk about. I mean, sure, some of them do have good intentions, but it's like, I don't know. People say some shit that they don't think before they speak sometimes, and it gets out of hand.
I think, like I said, I think so. I think a part of it also comes from the fact that some people just don't want the answers. Like some people, like there are smart people out there that still don't research something
Oh yeah,
because maybe they just don't want to. Like you said, that comes down to laziness, but it also could come down to the fact that they just don't want to be wrong,
yeah.
but they just don't give a shit,
Mhm.
or maybe it just strikes a bad chord with them, with them or something.
And that's another thing too. Like a lot of people like are afraid to be wrong. I mean, hell, even including myself, I'm guilty of it. Like, I mean, because no one wants to deal with the backlash of being wrong or just looking dumb or stupid in general, and no one pride will not let people admit to that. It's like, hey, this was a dumbass thing I said. I clearly didn't do my research. Blah blah blah. Like, I don't know. Internet's petty. We know this. We've been on the internet long enough. We know the internet's fucking petty, and they
Mhm.
remember. Even if when you think they don't remember, they remember.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure whenever our podcast gets more than 2 subscribers, that we will say some dumb shit, and then years from now, when we're on like season 69, if we make it that far, then someone will be like, "Remember in season 2 when you said some dumb shit?" And I'll just be like, "No, I don't remember," because
You gotta call them out on that. You gotta be like, you gotta tell me the exact time I said this on that clip.
you're gonna have to give me a link and give me a timestamp.
Yeah, link and timestamp, and I will judge for myself. If it does sound stupid, I will freely admit that. But if it just sounds like something you disagree with, you kiss my ass. All right.
And it's
Now
like,
watch. Gonna timestamp this in the future.
Man.
oh god, like, I don't know. Like, I think we've already established, like, I mean, at least amongst ourselves. I don't know if we've done it on the air, but either way, I think it's there's definitely a lot of negativity and toxicity on the internet, especially on social media in particular. Um,
Mhm.
which I don't know, which is, again, it can, again, just the general dislike of someone could lead to you just trying to find it. Well, not necessarily lead to like one of us, or just like, just generally speaking, it can lead to someone trying to cancel someone just because they don't just simply just don't like them. You know, it's like, oh my fucking Joji, pink guy. Remember when they tried to cancel him for? Remember Filthy
Wait,
Frank?
who?
Filthy
Mhm.
Frank.
Oh,
Y'all remember Filthy Frank? We're not that
Oh,
old.
yeah.
Like I remember when they tried canceling Joji for his stuff they did with Filthy Frank, and I'm just like, bro, it's like if you don't remember that shit being on the internet, it's like I don't know. It's like I don't know. Like that. That's the thing too. It's like it was a different time. It's like people said like a lot of raunchy and out of pocket shit in like late 2000s, like 2010 era. Like it's like I don't know. People didn't know any better, and like I mean, we've seen this shit with fucking even just like Xbox Live in general. All the toxicity that was on there, and that's I don't know. I don't think. Granted, this is coming from my perspective because I don't really play as many multiplayer games as I used to, or at least when it comes to Call of Duty, I don't have a microphone that I plug into my Xbox because I don't know. And even then, even when I was on Xbox Live in the early days, I didn't want to fucking talk to people. It's like unless you were like in like one of my close friends who had Xbox, then like I did not want to talk to some random dude on Xbox Live.
That shit would get scary too. And then it was always weird because there's always little kids, which it's like, who raised you?
Like honestly though,
Yeah.
like y'all, I'm not adding that shit in, but y'all can look up for yourselves all there's compilations of just every just there's like from children to adults, children who probably should not even been playing this game, who didn't even know what the hell is going on, and then saying some out of pocket shit on the internet. It's there's compilations of that shit. Y'all can look that up yourselves. So, like I'm not that shit.
Like for real, like every time that shit still happens, and every time I'm like, dude, who are your parents? Who's raising you? Yeah, you have to be home alone.
Like, bro.
Well, you have to either be home alone or white because there's no way,
There's no way.
no black parent would ever let some shit like that because they'll sometimes be screaming, right,
Yeah.
bro? Jesus, bro, it's oh my goodness.
Like honestly, I think we've just reached the point in this episode where it is we're gonna have to call this episode cancel culture / toxicity of the internet. Because that's just what or even toxicity of society. Because oh my god.
Cancel culture and more. There you go.
Yeah, no, perfect. We're editing live on the spot, folks. You get to see this
Yeah.
right here.
This is
Uncut.
It's been, man, it's just bad. Like the internet is a bad place. Like I said, the cancel culture has to be some of the dumbest shit I've seen recently, though.
Yeah.
Just because of how it's ineffective too. We're going back to that because that shit is effective.
Yeah, it kind of is. I mean, like, even when it comes to like people who do genuinely deserve to be canceled, it does tend to be ineffective. Like,
It works for certain people, right?
Mhm.
Like the James Charles situation. The dude was caught like texting minors and shit. That shit works. He hasn't really come back from shit. Like I don't know, he might have, but it's been some months since people have seen him like on YouTube, which is good. Stay your ass off of YouTube. But dude, like
insert drama alert intro right.
What is up, Drum Alert Nation? I'm your host, Killer Keemstar. Let's get right into the news.
I'm gonna get one of those like Sam Pepper like videos or some shit.
No.
One of those accusatory videos. No, but like legit, if work, you better figure some shit out before you even think about coming to the internet, because that's people remember shit. And if they don't remember, it's there so they can.
Yeah. And it's like, don't get us wrong. It's like we've known the world. The world was definitely a bad place before the internet. It just now it's just all in like one consolidated place that's hella accessible, like 24/7.
Yeah.
It's like you can't escape the negativity that comes with the world and the internet.
Yeah,
It's just
like like people. I think people tried to cancel Chris Brown again because of the Rihanna shit that happened years ago. That
mhm,
For
she is.
real?
I think people have tried that shit multiple times. It doesn't work because
yeah,
shit. It doesn't
yeah,
care.
yeah.
It's
Because like
Chris fucking Brown.
yeah, and it's like I still know people who fucking listen to him, support him, go to concerts, and it's like I don't know. It's like I personally I don't listen to as much Chris Brown. I mean, granted, I don't know because I mean at least through my personal experiences with that sort of thing, it's like I don't support any sort of like partner or spousal beating or
You know,
abuse. You're a shitty person if you do that. I mean, granted, I again just because I haven't really kept up with Chris Brown. Like I know he's dropped like a few albums with too many songs on them. But other than that, I have not really kept up with him that much. Like after the whole Rihanna thing.
Yeah.
the
So,
shit's just like I said. The shit's ineffective. The dude's still out there doing his thing, still
mhm,
singing, still dancing, doing his shit, and he
yeah,
still makes hella more money than the people that try and cancel him.
yeah, and as well as like, I don't think it's also weird too because it's like again like unless like this person does something to where like they I guess get put in prison or whatever. It's like at the end of the day, if they're still living in society, it's like they still gotta make a living. So it's like they're gonna do it the way they know how to do it.
Bro,
Like,
what,
like imagine Chris Brown gets like canceled again or some shit, and then you just see his ass at fucking McDonald's or something. Like, bro, what are you doing here?
bro? Even with that prison point, back to 6ix9ine, he is still making shit, and people still listen to
Like
him.
honestly, he's one of those people who needs to be in jail. Or like I know he went to like trial and all that, but I think his whole thing was like, oh, he snitched on everyone, so
We gotta
I don't know,
reduce it.
or he took like a plea deal or some shit to work, so or he didn't go to jail or whatever. I don't know, but he, 6ix9ine's one of those people. Like why? Just why? Is like his music's ass. Like I just don't understand why. I mean, to each their own, I guess. Like if you want to listen to someone like 6ix9ine or like at least of something similar that is sort of 6ix9ine style. Like, I don't know, but 6ix9ine, he's just not a good human. Like it was funny too. I was scrolling through Facebook. Like this was a while ago. I saw ads for like a documentary on 6ix9ine on Hulu, and I'm just like, bro.
Oh yeah, I remember
Is he gonna put? Is he gonna put the part where he had sex with 13-year-old in it?
I mean,
You know he's not.
probably like granted I didn't look into the whole documentary, so I mean I'm assuming he's got to be a part of the shit if he's willing to like get it put on fucking Hulu and have it advertised and shit.
And
So
you know he is. You know he won't put that shit on there. That shit's too incriminating.
probably
Even,
I don't know. I just know I'm not wasting my time watching that bullshit. It's not worth it. Don't waste your time, folks. Your time is too valuable of a resource that you cannot get back. So like literally do anything else besides fucking watch that. Take an hour long dump. You will have a lot better time. Or I guess at that point, if you probably need to go to a hospital if you're on the toilet for that long. But that's besides the point. That was cheap. But
even
literally do anything else besides watch that fucking documentary.
I'll even extend it to this. Do anything else other than like waste your time arguing with people over shit that they probably don't care about.
Like,
Hating on people for no fucking reason. Because let's be honest, some people just hate for no reason. If you dislike them that much, once again, then leave. It's like a bad relationship. If you don't want to be in it, don't be in it. And I'm not saying this in the case of abusive relationships. Some people latch onto that shit. Sometimes it's a lot harder for them to get out. But I'm saying like if it's an unsatisfying relationship and you are in it, and you can get out, and you want to get out, but you stay, you leave,
Yeah.
leave. You're wasting time. You're wasting, even an extra day is a day you cannot get back. Leave now.
Just yeah, it's like, you got to filter out the negativity where you go. And that's like another thing too. Like, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like, at least from my perspective, I personally tend to be indifferent towards a lot of things. I mean, obviously, I have my own thoughts, my own opinions on things, but and I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong discussing things with a person who has a differing point of view. But I just feel like it comes down to what's called like time, place, and manner. It's like if you're going to be arguing with like your fucking family at dinner over petty shit, especially easiest example is politics. You're going to be arguing over shit like that. It's like, I don't know. I feel like there's a time and a place for it, but I don't know. It's weird because I mean, obviously not everyone's going to be a politician, but I feel like damn near everyone's a fucking politician at this point with everyone's fucking political takes. It's like, honestly, I mean, I'm sure it probably would have happened, but if it wasn't for our former president, I probably would not have looked into as much politics as I have.
I I still didn't. Let's be honest, I still didn't. I don't like a lot of the shit he says. But once again, who am I to criticize if I don't know evidence? I don't have evidence. I don't know any of the shit he's done. I know about the deportation stuff, but I'm pretty sure that Obama still deported more people.
Yeah.
And people like, it's weird because people like to try and twist the bad shit into sounding less bad than it is.
Yeah.
Like, oh, at least he at least it was the entire family instead of the parents. Like, no,
But that doesn't make it better. It still did a shitty thing.
Bruh.
Doesn't make it better, man. It's still bad.
Yeah.
It's still bad.
I feel like especially now, like with a lot of like, I guess for lack of better terms, nationalism and patriotism. I can't tell you the difference between the two off the top of my head because a lot of them just seem very similar to me. So I'm open to being corrected on this, but just with a lot of Americans still kind of, I guess, supporting some of the shitty things we do, or at least some of the shitty people who hold political power or even used to hold political power. Like, basically, long story short, the point I'm trying to get to, when it comes to American history in general, I feel like Americans need to learn to take the good with the bad. Because yes, presidents and a lot of politicians in power in America have done great things. But along with their great things, they have also done hella shitty things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some more than others, of course, but you still need to recognize that, hey, this is the good they did, and this is where they kind of fucked up, whether it was a lot or a little. Like, I don't know, people just need to learn to recognize that instead of just blindly supporting our country, which, I mean, again, like in America, we do have the luxury of having a lot more rights than some countries out there, which is a thing to be recognized. But, at the same time, that does not exempt our politicians in power or even politicians of past of criticism,
Mm. Yeah, like I've learned, and I've seen some videos of people that talk about like us as a country, and I've learned that America as a country and all of its people, we're a very self-centered country. Generally, us individually, we're very self-centered people, and we don't really look out for each other like that. We don't really care what happens. Like we have we have we have big ass argumentative debate, not even civil debates. We have huge ass argumentative debates about just being a different political fuck is that called? Political viewpoint.
Mm.
Just for being that. Not for the ideologies or anything like that, just for being that. We have huge ass arguments. When, bitch, I don't give a fuck what you are. You shouldn't, because it's not you. Who cares? And it's rough because like people can't even be friends and be opposite political viewpoints anymore.
Yeah.
Like they can't just separate that or just have a civil disagreement. They can't have a civil conversation about it.
Mhm.
They have to make it a bigger thing than what it is. Because let's be honest, any president we have is gonna fuck us over.
Oh yeah.
Why does it matter?
This is why we say eat the rich.
Dang. Like I said, there's some stuff with the right I agree with, the stuff with the left I agree with. That's the wrong whatever. You know? The shit still stands. It's like, dude, you can disagree with somebody and not turn it into a big thing.
Like honestly.
Stop
Like,
focusing on yourself and focus on the people at large.
yeah. Because and again it comes down to at the end of the day, it is very hard to change someone's mind. Like you can show them everything in the world that proves that they are wrong. And they'll still be
And it's
like
still opinion, yeah.
they'll still be like the sky is fucking green or the earth is flat.
Dang, the sky is green, the stars don't have colors, colors don't exist, and Bush did 9/11.
Bruh.
I don't know if you guys saw this at all, but like I think uh George Bush posted on Instagram or something. I think it was on Instagram stories or some shit. It was just a picture of Trump Tower, like no caption, no nothing, just a picture of Trump Tower, and everyone was just like, "Oh, what you doing there, W? You want an airplane, W?" The FBI agents are going to be on our ass for this one.
So, oh man,
Oh,
yeah, we went from cancel culture to a whole host of other subjects. Have fun titling this because you're the one editing it.
yep.
For
Just,
real.
just cancel culture and the clusterfuck of the world.
Yeah,
Or even, I might just keep it simple, just cancel culture. And you know, I gotta pique some interest somewhere. Got to get some clicks, you
mm,
know. But you know, that'll come with time.
yeah,
At least I like to think so. If not, our voices will be somewhere within the void that is the internet. And I'm sure someone somewhere out there is just, you know, on YouTube in the middle of the night, ass crack of dawn or you whatnot, and they just happen. You know how it's like you're on YouTube very late at night, you're tired as fuck, and then you just get recommended some random ass shit, or like it auto plays some random ass shit. That's gonna
mm,
be our podcast.
mm, yeah,
It's like someone out there will watch this, but
yeah,
I think we've reached a fair point to where we've discussed what we can, and we've recognized all the things we can out there when it comes to this assortment, this basket of topics, if you will.
hmm
Yeah.
But you know, at the end of the day, you know, people just do your research. You know, I guess hold people accountable where you can, if that's your
don't
thing. If you,
don't try and hold them accountable for shit they did like so far in the past that even the dinosaurs would be jealous.
you know, don't be petty with it. Cancel people who genuinely deserve it, not just people who just fucked up or it's an honest mistake. You know, just you know, I don't know, use it wisely because
Yeah,
you know at the end of the day, we as a collective, as a people, we do have power, but you know, it just because we are so disorganized, we don't really know how to use it properly. But I don't know. I wouldn't call it the beauty of the world, because by God, that is not beautiful.
No.
But
Is this the first outro we're gonna have?
maybe, I guess so. I don't know. I don't think we've ever had much of a formal outro.
Fuck it, then cut it here. Cut it here. That's it. See y'all. Cut it. Cut the recording. Cut it down.